Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome back to Isadora. I wish you a very blessed, very prosperous New Year. Now, I was thinking about my New Year resolutions, right? As we all like to do at the beginning of the year. And the most important resolution for me is to become a better leader. Now, being a leader does not mean you have to have a company or you have to be the president. You can be a leader within your own home. You can be a leader amongst your friends group. You can be a leader on your street, in your community. Well, if you're young, you could be a leader in your classroom, or you can be a leader in your school, or you can even be a leader in your own life to lead a better life. To lead your personal life better. Now, a lot of people misinterpret the role and the title. Let me give you a good example. Back in the days when I used to have, whenever I opened like a food spot, well, I never had a full-blown restaurant, but I had a few takeout spots. Now, what I would do is now, if I opened a takeout place, now don't forget it's just takeout, so it would consist of maybe just the kitchen, one or two offices, right? And I would hire kitchen staff. I would hire office staff, like maybe 1, 2, 3 people. Office staff, maybe like 1 or 2 people. Then I would hire a cleaner. I would hire delivery people. I would hire, okay, so like that's not bad enough, right? Then I would hire a PA and I would hire a driver. Now, sometimes I have a contract going on and I have about 2 other locations, or sometimes just 2. So if I have more than one, then it makes a bit of sense that I would have maybe a driver and a PA, so somebody can overlook the other places. But when I have just one spot, I would do the same thing and still hire all those people. Do you understand? And for me, it wasn't at the time, it wasn't so much about it wasn't about the business. It was really about the aesthetics. It was the look of it. I felt like being a leader, or it had a lot to do with the look, so that I can tell people, yeah, my PA will handle it, don't worry, my PA will handle it. I felt like that was what it was all about. Do you understand? And then come end of the month, I would completely start losing it, because I had to fork out all this money to pay all the staff. This is monies I could have used for advertising and marketing, so I completely missed it. Because it's not just about telling people what to do. If you don't have any real impact in the lives of the people you're leading, then you're just a boss, not a leader. There's a difference. There are 2 types of leaders. The first type uses a strategy called divide and rule, also called divide and conquer. Now, from hearsay, I heard that this type of strategy is actually taught to leaders in Harvard University. Remember, I said hearsay. I have never been to Harvard. Anyway, this strategy is used to keep yourself in power by causing disagreements amongst your subordinates so that they don't come together to oppose you. A lot of important leaders, major leaders, actually use this strategy. What you do, the way you do it is you favor one group or one person and not the others. And this incites jealousy. It makes them jealous and it causes division, that they can never really team up against you. I mean, not if you've caused enmity between them, silently. Studies show that this was the strategy used by the British during the colonial rule in India. They used the policy to create division amongst different religious groups and ethnicities, and they also pitched regions against each other, and this helped them to maintain power and control over India. They would control the media, only allowing certain information to be published, and this would affect what the people thought and what they believed, right? Then they would also give preferential treatment to a certain group and not to the others. So they would give certain areas more development than other areas, and this naturally would cause like unrest and conflicts within the regions. It was all about imperialism. You know what that is, right? Imperialism is when one country controls another country politically, economically, and even sometimes culturally. One thing I've learned about the Indian culture is the caste system on skin color. The lighter skinned you are, and the more colored eyes or lighter eyes you are, the more you are entitled to a better life, because it's considered a symbol of wealth and power. Even the women, it's the women that pay the bride price and pay the groom's price and everything. So it's the women's family that will send out a letter and whatnot to the groom family of choice. So the more lighter, the more of an elite you are, the more you can marry rich, so to speak. However, the dark-skinned people actually suffer color prejudice. Like, the darker-skinned people are considered more low class, and they're sometimes shunned. Get to wonder where that idea came from, right? Don't quote me. Anyway, I'm not saying I'm smarter than Harvard University, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than the leaders, the world leaders that utilize this strategy. But in my opinion, and this is my opinion, it screams insecurity, because what you're breeding, being that sort of leader, is future followers, not leaders. Truth be told, a lot of people don't like other people to grow. They want to keep them small, not being or having as much as they do. And then you turn around and say it's lonely at the top. Really? You didn't carry anyone along. You wanted to be lord and boss over all of them, and that's why you have no real acquaintances. The other type of leader leads by example. This type of leader is more focused on the goal and not the role. They carry their subordinates along. Now, these are the types of leaders that build future leaders, because they teach that a leader must first be of service to his people to be a great leader. And they don't just instruct them, they show them how, and they're not worried about opposition, because there will always be opposition. Somebody somewhere will always want your position, will always want what you have. When you're a leader that leads by example, it's easier to weed out the slackers and the unfocused ones and do away with them and keep the focused ones, because you have more of an interpersonal relationship with your people. Does that make sense? And okay, let me give you an example. Imagine if you're a focused person and you want to build a fish factory. And then you have a leader showing you, not just telling you, oh, take the fish and do whatever it is you want with it. They are teaching you that, okay, you know what, this is how you catch the fish. When you catch the fish, this is how you skin it. This is how you place it on your stalls to attract more customers. Now you're more focused. You don't want to sabotage that person that is teaching you how to be a future business owner, right? Now, the thing is, a lot of people actually think this sort of leader is foolish because they lead with love. Humans. Anyway, a good example is from the Christian religion. Again, let me say this. I use examples that are accessible. So I apologize if you're not of the Christian religion, but please, you can refer to Google. So a good example is Jesus, the Son of God, according to the Christian religion. He had 12 disciples, and he knew that one of them would betray him, but carried them along anyway. He loved them equally, and he taught them everything they needed to know. Because he knew that eventually he wouldn't be with them anymore, and they have to stand on their own 2 feet and lead. What was most significant about his leadership was when he washed the feet of his disciples. Now, the one called Christ, the one called Lord, the one called the Son of God, washed the feet of his disciples. Now, back in those days, right, there were no cars or means of transportation, so people walked around, so their feet will end up dirty, right? Now, when you have guests, washing their feet is a sign of honoring your guests, but this is usually done by the lowest servants in the house, would wash the feet of the guests and everything. But Jesus Christ, the Son of God, he lowered himself and washed the feet of his disciples, because he did it as an act of service, teaching them that the right way to lead is to serve. Now, it's a brand new year. People are making changes to lead better lives and hopefully to be better people to the people around them. What sort of leader would you rather be? Now, I know some people like to be the boss over other people, and that's okay, no judgment. To lead with love is more of a challenge, because it involves investing your time, investing your knowledge, most importantly, investing your act of service to build future leaders. Which one are you? Namaste.